Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 here on HeflaTV HB1. Before us we have a winner's bracket best of 3 between vp.polar and AlbumS. I'm Grandis I'll be joined by Mike Loris, and the draft is already underway.
Yeah, this is actually going a lot faster, but just real quickly, guys, Virtus.Pro we are in the second round of the winners bracket. Virtus.Pro have already won their first set up against Lions and AlbumS. We're here waiting for them. I think many people would say that VP are the favorites to win, but I mean, AlbumS can definitely give them a run for their money, and it's very possible, especially when opening with two green heroes, Death Prophet and Tidehunter, two absolute powerhouses, both in team fights and in laning.
For sure, and yeah, I'm quite liking what AlbumS to bring to the table, but vp.polar's picks are no such as either. Swap with Dreamcoil, ensuring the coil stun is a nice combination, especially if you have an Aghanim Scepter later along down the line for the puck, where you have a 4.5 second stun that goes through Magic Immunity that is guaranteed, as long as no Lincoln Spheres are involved or something along those lines. Either way, next banning stage is going to come out. Lich is taken off of the table, and as far as I can see, Viper and Razor is still inside the pool and would be decent choices for either side, maybe a little bit more for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, if they go for one of those, then they'll be very happy about their circumstances. Grab that solo mid. Puck is most likely going to be played offlane, as that is the setup that VPP have been running in the past games. And well, Puck Vengeful Spirit, I feel like they've been opening up with those two heroes whenever they can get their hands on those two heroes. So Virtus.Pro are definitely comfortable with their opening two heroes, and well, AlbumS, as said, very powerful heroes of their own. They have to be very comfortable with those as well. Virtus.Pro do have two range heroes, that is worth noting. Lich is going to be banned out, so maybe it's going to be AlbumS trying to dissuade VP from going for their rather trademark Naga Siren, but I don't know, you have to apply a lot more pressure than just Death Prophet if you want to make VP avoid that Naga.
For sure. It's definitely not going to dissuade them from it. For now, we're going to see what they're going to ban. It is going to be the Naga Siren, as you predicted, and Witch Doctor ban out, and Virtus.Pro instantly going to pick up the Elder Titan. Already synergizing decently with what they have. Some decent magic nuke coming out from the puck, and some additional minus armor from the Venge.
Yes, they are on their way to quite a bit of damage amplification, though the damage that they're amplifying isn't really very heavy right now, since they have lots of minus armor rather, yet not much physical yet. Even though they do have that, Elder Titan Vengeful Spirit is a pretty solid combo, and maybe not the best up against Tidehunter. It does do well enough in order to zone him out, and the roaming isn't really that great from these two supports, but really it's all about the mid game, where these two supports really start to shine. Once you get the ultimate on Vengeful Spirit, once you get maxed out in the Spirit, then the damage and the utility is so extremely high. And well, AlbumS have Tidehunter, Death Prophet to kind of tank that one up. It's a nice start for what VP have.
For sure. As far as the next heroes for AlbumS, it's still lacking a lot of their supports. The Scarth Mage, Ogre have been banned out, as have the Lich, Witch Doctor, and so there's not very many high-tier supports left inside the pool. AlbumS definitely would like a really quick disable for the puck if they ever want to kill him off, so Rubik might be on the table for them just for the instant telekinesis, but they could always go for the old standbys, like Earthshaker, Sand King are still there.
Yeah, just getting some stuns on the table, I think, would benefit AlbumS just so much. Up against Puck and up against everyone. Really, right now, the only thing that they have to disable teleportations is going to be an eventual Eul Scepter from Death Prophet, which is pretty good, but you really want to use that to set up, and a Ravage, which is, I mean, I guess a pretty good way of canceling TPs, although you probably don't want to be using the spell like that. Grabbing a stun is going to be the bare minimum right now for AlbumS. They can go for their third core, but man, I don't really see a reason to. You need your supports, or you could just pick up Zeus, and well, that's some early game pressure right there.
Yeah, early game pressure, as well as being able to cancel TPs with the Thunderbolt, although not a true stun. It is a whole truckload of damage coming out from AlbumS. They'll rely fairly heavily on their ultimate cooldowns, especially the Tidehunter and Death Prophets. But I don't know, the Zeus could work out for them.
Yeah, it really depends on how tanky Virtus.Pro are going to be picking within their next couple of heroes. Do you think there's any chance that this is going to be a support Zeus? Because I haven't seen that in a very long time, but it seems like it's a possibility here.
It feels like it. Offlane Tidehunter, mid Death Prophet, and they can pick up something else for the safe lane. Not the best, it's zoning out a puck, but it still can work and would probably be able to get some decent levels up as well. I'm leaning towards throwing Zeus towards mid and Death Prophet towards the safe lane, but there is that flexibility, although it is peculiar.
Right, so Virtus.Pro, they see the Zeus. They know that they're going to be going up against quite a bit of burst damage up in this game, so they don't really have that many defensive tools, at least, heals or anything like that. Maybe they want to go for something like along the lines of Necrophos, but it seems like Virtus Pro Polar, they're just setting up for just really deep into the late game. Now you have to pick up a hero that is going to be able to resist Zeus and Death Prophet. Maybe just an anti-mage for Illidan Storm Mage or something like that.
Potentially, Death Prophet Exorcism is still going to do quite a number onto AM if he doesn't get the farm up, but it definitely could work, especially if they get as much farm as they're used to on their anti-mages.
Yeah, the only problem is then you have two melee heroes, and it's not that big a deal, but I think anti-mage will actually work pretty well here for Virtus Pro. I mean, as far as carries go, you could go for that, you could go for Morphling and kind of be okay versus Zeus, but it's really hard to pick up a carry hero since they're all just typically so fragile. Uh, they could go for something like a Lifestealer, I suppose, but actually that won't be the worst. Maybe Lifestealer is kind of on the table for Virtus Pro Polar. Really, they should do these two cores to be not complete glass cannons. That's the bare minimum for them. Maybe a little bit of initiation to help out with Puck as well.
Yeah, even though we haven't seen him forever, it would have been nice to see a Lifestealer, but instead they go for an Ember Spirit. This is kind of a little too glass cannon, at least for my taste. And now with the Disruptor, they have some decent tools to lock down this Ember Spirit. Silencer and Death Prophet, Static Storm later on, Ravage. Ember Spirit's not going to have the greatest of times unless he gets off to a good start. But that said, combined with the Natural Order coming out from the Elder Titan, as well as Vengeful Spirit and her damage amplification, Ember Spirit, if he does get the core items online, will be able to do quite a bit.
Yeah, they have so many ways of making sure this Ember Spirit does just a broken amount of damage, and that means that he's not going to actually need his Phase Boots and Battle Fury in order to kill things. He just needs to get a couple of levels up, which is certainly a lot more possible, especially since it looks like he's going right now for the mid lane and up against Death Prophet or even up against Zeus. Ember Spirit is not going to have a fantastic time. Hell, even up against Tidehunter, the Ember Spirit is going to get absolutely smashed. So I'm inclined to think VP are just want to avoid that Ember Spirit in the mid lane as much as they can, just because the lane matchups are so terrible there.
Fair enough. Right now, album sheet. I'm not exactly sure what they're deciding to pick up. It looks like Virtus Pro are expecting this to be a support Zeus or maybe even a support Tidehunter. As they ban out the Faceless Void. Could have been really annoying for them to deal with, and Faceless Void's always a hero that's kind of nagging at the back of your mind that you're kind of scared of. Virtus Pro, the first one to show their hand, presumably picking up something towards the mid lane. Let's see what's still available. Razor's there, and if they just want to win the lane, that could be a decent option.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tanky-ish hero, and it will, once again, have a lot of synergy with the other minus armor heroes, and he already does do quite a bit of damage, so you don't really need to amplify it, but if you do, then you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself. I really like the Razor here for Virtus Pro Polar. I think in general, I favor the Viper a little bit more, but no, it's going to be a Phantom Assassin. Sending that towards the mid lane, I mean, the matchups are just as bad for her as they are for Ember Spirit, maybe even worse, but Virtus Pro Polar certainly are confident in their ability to take these lanes, even though on paper they may be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit risky. I think Phantom Assassin has a slight edge over Ember Spirit just because she'll always be able to get some CS with the Stifling Dagger, even if the lane is going terribly. But even so, it's not the pick that I would have thought. And for Album Sheet, it's going to be Wraith King. Still, we have yet to see who's going to be playing core and who's going to be playing support. Their lineup is this pick doesn't really answer that question.
And being played by Chess, who I don't know who that is, I guess just random stand-in for Album Sheet, really doesn't answer it at all once you even see the players picking their heroes. So for Album Sheet, we're all just going to have to wait and see. But hey, we're in the game and we'll see what they load out with, and maybe that will help us glean a little bit of info. The Wraith King starting with the Stout Shield, no boots, no clarities or anything like that. It looks like it is going to be a core Wraith King.
Yeah, and as for the Zeus, loads out with the Courier and the Ward, so it is going to be a support Zeus. No Fear going to be playing on that hero, Chess on the Wraith King, Sunlight playing on the Disruptor, Chomi on the Death Prophet heading towards mid, and Afterlife solo offlane on the Tidehunter.
And for Virtus Pro Polar, it's going to be Illidan Stormrage playing the Phantom Assassin going towards mid. DK Phobos is going to be playing the Ember Spirit top, or maybe Mag's going to be going top as the Puck, who knows. Lil is going to be playing the support Vengeful Spirit, and Rain for X Gods, FNG, is going to be playing the Elder Titan. It looks like DK Phobos might be going towards the bottom lane. If these lanes land on dual lanes for vp.polar, I'll actually be pretty surprised.
Definitely, this is not what I was expecting, at least FNG going bottom. I thought he would just straight up support, maybe just securing a word for the Puck. Yeah, I don't know, he does go for the boots first, so he can get the word out a little bit faster than Mag can. Either way, it is very peculiar. Just based on the amount of regen that Mag has, he expects to be under a lot of pressure in the laning phase. So I do expect him to settle down towards bottom, and whether FNG stays here or not is the real question.
Yeah, the puck going down towards the bottom lane, it's probably going to be expecting this tri-lane of Album Sheet. And though you can dodge or Wraith Fire Blast, everything else is going to be difficult, if not impossible, to avoid. So really, for VP, there's no good option to send down to this bottom lane, but hopefully the puck is going to get experience and not die. But of course, that's a very tall order. Even with so much restoration, there is quite a bit of easily applied damage from the Album Sheet side onto that puck. So it's going to be a really tough lane for whoever decides to go down there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually decide to just forsake the lane altogether.
Fair enough. Yeah. Let's see. The support Zeus, if this is up against the puck, is going to be able to get some decent zoning potential out. Wraithfire Blast isn't going to be a reliable way to lock down the puck unless both the Illusory Orb and the Phase Shift are not available. But even if puck gets off the Phase Shift, if there is at least 2 points up into the Glimpse coming out from Disruptor, there is some killing potential, and puck needs to be wary, especially if he takes a little bit too much harass beforehand.
Yeah, so the puck not really going to have a good time there. But at the same time, we have the Tidehunter. He does have double ringer protection, so he's going to be rather durable to all this physical. And I think there's maybe a slight chance that there's only going to be one person up on the top lane, although it doesn't seem very likely. The Tidehunter not going to have a great time by any means, but he is certainly going to have a much better time, I feel, than the puck. Mostly because Elder Titan, he's good at zoning, but he's not really good at actually killing unless he gets very good circumstances. And in that situation, I think the 3v1 lanes, if they do turn out to be 3v1 lanes, are going to be relatively even as far as who gets shut down and how much they do get shut down.
Fair enough. Well, I have no idea why we're paused, but I suppose we can. Well, it looks like the admin wants to know why we're paused too. Yeah, English would be nice. I can't understand whatever language that is.
Yeah, man, they have problems with the mic. Don't you know that that's what Ochin v voice chat fix it means? You should learn this language.
Definitely.
I don't even know what language this is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm uncultured. I have no idea.
All right, guys. Well, anyway, that the for the last lane, I suppose we should take a look at that as well. Death Prophet mid. I mean, we've seen this a million times before. Loading out with the Null Talisman, a lot of stats, very light on the regen. Expecting pretty much anyone from Virtus.polar to be going here, no matter what. The Death Prophet is going to have an edge. Illidan does have the Poor Man's Shield to start out with, but the PA is actually very far away from any sort of sustain with the bottle or anything like that. So this could be really bad very early on for the Phantom Assassin if she, for whatever reason, just gets hit one too many times. Poor Man's Shield is going to help with that, but man, the Death Prophet is going to be absolutely running this lane.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really going to change based on the supports that they have. They might be able to rotate in the Vengeful Spirit, but Elder Titan, or any of the other heroes for that matter, can't really gank the Death Prophet unless she gets completely out of position. I think it's unlikely that they'll be able to help the Phantom Assassin that much at all.
I think both teams probably going to be very light on the roaming. Zeus and Disruptor, or especially Disruptor, doesn't really like to leave the lane. He just wants to pretty much just get levels and make sure that any opportunities that he has are going to be in said lane. Zeus, I'm not exactly too sure about because we don't see that many support Zeuses, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be contributing that much to a gank either. Mostly just level 6 where he wants to go. For VP, I mean, Magic Missile and Spirit are okay, but you typically need a little bit more than that if you're going to get kills for sure, especially when you're ganking into a Wraith King lane. So these lanes, what you see is probably what you're going to get.
Yeah, and it looks like it is going to be a dual lane setup coming up for Virtus.polar. I don't know, Elder Titan might end up making his way towards top. He does place the early ward out for the puck, which is nice for them since the puck doesn't have boots. This is completely undetected by the enemy team, and so he is going to have vision of the support rotations more than likely. No sentries on the Zeus. There is a pair of sentries on the Disruptor, but since it's not blocking any camps, I think it's unlikely that this ward is going to be taken out.
Yeah, usually you don't expect it to be really down there. If anything, it'll be up in this, closer to the rune area, maybe a little bit further south. So they may just miss this observe ward. Though I think they should know that there's an observer ward there, since 9 times out of 10 that's going to be the case. There's going to be an observer ward somewhere on the bottom lane, especially when you have someone very fragile like a puck on that lane. So even though it may not be the easiest for Album Sheet to get rid of this ward, I'm pretty sure they will know what's going on eventually. And then maybe they won't take it out, maybe they will. Who knows? Either way, they will be able to play around the fact that they are spotted.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're in for a little bit of passive game. Who do you think that actually favors? At least passive in the early portions.
Well, early on, I think it's going to be Album Sheet who want to be playing a little bit more aggressively. The Death Prophet, as soon as she hits her, level 9 mark, Exorcism is going to be great. Zeus, of course, when you play him as a support, though he can contribute a little bit more down the line with late game. Static Fields, this is going to let you do that. The early game damage of Lightning Bolt, even if you are being played as support, you can't really afford to ignore that. So I think it's going to be VP who want to play this as defensively as possible, and Album Sheet who are going to want to go and try to break a couple towers, try to get a couple kills. Whether or not they could do that is a different story entirely, just because VP has so many defensive tools when Album Sheet are going to try to group up.
Alrighty then. Hopefully these mic issues get sorted out. We have no idea what the actual issue is. There's Skype issues, and I don't know. Something's always wrong.
It just wasn't possible to get this going, was it? I mean, Album Sheet were so early too, and yet here we are,
Yeah,
so late.
Yeah, actually in the lobby, ready to go 25 minutes before official game start, which is actually unheard of. Like that's never happened before, ever.
Yeah, 25 minutes before game starts is like 40 minutes early.
It really is, and I don't know. Props to them for that, but get your mic issues sorted.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes stuff just creeps up on you, I suppose, but I guess they were all just chilling and not saying anything, so they didn't realize that stuff was going wrong. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Very well. Not much else to talk about. This is the first best of 3 for the day. Later on, we're going to have Lions versus PR in the lower bracket. This game isn't actually going to eliminate anybody, although you definitely want to win this series for sure to stay in the upper bracket of the tournament. Even if one of these teams is going to lose the series, they'll still have a chance to come back. The second series of the day, not so much. So definitely stick around. We're going to have plenty of Dota throughout the day. That is if we can actually get this game unpaused.
And I don't really think we're going to be doing that ever today. So everyone, grab snacks, drinks, and just start sleeping. We'll wake you up when the game is actually going to be starting. So, yeah, Illidan, man, in a previous game in the group stages, there was like a hell of a long pause. vp.polar versus I don't even remember who. And Illidan was keeping track of the pauses and everything. He was enforcing the rules. It was great.
Seems that he's doing that now. Wants to know exactly how long they can pause. I sure hope he's keeping track, because I'm not.
Man, you never expect to need to be keeping track, right? It's like, well, it's just a momentary pause. They're just fixing their microphone. You just, take it out and put it back in again. Easy, but apparently it's not so easy. Technically, the teams have 15 minutes worth of pause that they could use for the entirety of the game. And I don't know, seems like it's been at least 5 by now, easy.
Feels like it. Lucky enough, we have an official admin inside this game, so we don't actually have to make any of those decisions.
Yeah, making decisions is hard, especially since once you say something relevant to the teams, then they get it in their minds that you're an admin, and that's just not the case. So we don't want to make admin calls because we really don't want these people to think that we're admins, because that's definitely what we're not.
Yeah, we're just here to cast the games. We are going to get this game unpaused miraculously so, and, well, we'll see the contention for the early runes. Top is going to probably just be secured by the Emerald Spirit and the Venge. I think it's unlikely the Tide's going to be able to steal it. Bottom, pretty similar story. Elder Titan might catch eyes on what it is, but I don't think he'll be able to take it, although he's sure as hell going to try. Looking forward, he's going to get an Illusion Rune, which is kind of useful, I suppose. Maybe he can block some camps with that, but outside of it, pretty not useful. I don't know. Ember Spirit gets the bounty up towards top, and both teams are going to load out to their lanes.
It is going to be Elder Titan taking quite a bit of damage because of that greed and trying to grab that Illusion Rune. It's not going to matter too much, I don't think. Maybe he's going to block off one camp, but no, Zeus Disruptor are going to make short work of all these illusions. So Elder Titan, I guess, just denying that to the enemy. Not sure if that's entirely worth it since he loaded out with so little regeneration. He's only down to 1 Tango right now, and this is a pretty dangerous chip lane. It's a pretty dangerous kill lane. It could be a lot worse, of course, as Zeus and Disruptor are kind of awkward lightning heroes, with Wraith King having the only true aggressive hero in this lane, but still, I don't see FNG having a great time in this lane. If it is going to just be dual lanes, which it is going to be where they ultimately land, Elder Titan even picking up Stomp level 1 is, I guess his objective, first and foremost, is to make sure Mag doesn't die.
I suppose so. I still think you go for a spirit level 1 usually, unless you actually need it. I think saving your point's probably the best course of action, but we are going to see the Tidehunter take quite a bit of damage, but he isn't going to die. I assume that was just magic missile into chains. Maybe, just maybe, if Elder Titan was there, that could have been a kill.
Yeah, I think if they had just a little bit more damage, maybe not Elder Titan with Stomp. If they had an Elder Titan with Spirit, that for sure, I think, would have been a kill, but actually that was just Vengeful Spirit. Level 1 Wave of Terror, and okay, Elder Titan just going to drop down on the bottom lane. Mag also taking quite a bit of damage as well. No more Wraithfire Blast, no more Lightning from the Zeus. I mean, I'm not actually surprised that happened. I'm just surprised that Reyna's actually caught that far ahead of the lane.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to go so deep into enemy lines. Even if he's playing defensively, it's scary enough, but it looked like they wanted to go for a kill on that Disruptor, and the puck only had level 1. There was no nukes or anything of the sort. He went for Phase Shift.
And puck level 1 isn't actually that a great hero to play aggressively, because you really do need Phase Shift in this lane so as to avoid those Wraithfire Blasts. Elder Titan is going to make a very fast return, cancel a couple of restoratives here and there, but for the most part, I don't think Elder Titan's going to be able to do that much with this. He's going to try to go for Zeus, but with Chess right behind the Zeus, there's pretty much no chance of the Elder Titan actually getting any traction. He's got to watch out for Kinetic Field as well.
Yeah. And FNG is going to be force back. Does have his level 2 and picked up a haste rune, so he's going to be just fine to go back in the lane. But I don't expect there to be very many more kills going on, unless somebody does exactly that again, where they just get caught out way too aggressively down in bottom. The ward is going to come out, coming up from the Radiant side. They will get rid of the Dire Ward, had about half duration left onto it, so that's going to be useful for them, and information in this lane is never a bad thing. Even though Elder Titan's not getting very much, I think the biggest issue for them is that he can't really do much in any of these lanes. Even up towards top, maybe it would have netted them the first blood onto Afterlife, but outside of zoning the Tidehunter, and even that being pretty difficult, he can't accomplish much.
Maybe best case scenario, he just goes up towards top lane and starts pulling or something like that, because Lil kind of has his hands full with just trying to zone the Tidehunter out, and to be fair to Lil, he's doing an absolutely fantastic job at doing that, even though Tidehunter has such a tanky build, but I mean, you kind of want to be running pulls at the same time just to not waste that experience, as Elder Titan is kind of just being a drain now on the bottom lane. Mag is getting a couple levels here and there, but Elder Titan really not getting that much, and really the laning stages where Elder Titan is by far at his weakest. You want him to kind of get through this as fast as possible, just so that he could get into the mid game and start doing a hell of a lot of damage with his aura. And a level 2 Elder Titan with 0 points in aura is not going to be getting there anytime soon.
Definitely. Mid lane matchup is actually going better for the Phantom Assassin than I thought it would. Illidan is currently 18-3 compared to 21-6, which is perfectly acceptable for vp.polar, and is going to have that bottle running back and forth, boots now onto him. It's looking pretty good. I think that mid lane is more or less a wash.
Yeah, so Illidan, of course, is an extremely good player, so maybe we underestimated that factor going into this, but I still think the matchup should be a little bit more favored towards the Death Prophet. The Stifling Dagger spam of the Phantom Assassin with that bottle running back and forth is going to, secure some CS here and there, and she actually doesn't have that much base damage less than the Death Prophet, so even if it does come down to a racing scenario for last hits or denies, Phantom Assassin will be able to more or less keep up with the Death Prophet, but it's going to be pretty good for vp.polar down over in the mid lane, but of course it's going to be kind of made up for the fact that bottom lane is going so poorly. Mid lane, they're going to have a setup onto Chomi. Double damage rune now popped on Illidan, another dagger, and a couple more right clicks is all they need. Chomi is going to get beaten down. This should be a kill unless they get fogged, and they are getting fogged. Illidan is going to get killed with one more Crypt Storm, can't get the last hit. Now Chomi popping the Exorcism to try to kill off FNG, and he'll be successful in that, as well as a double kill for AlbumS over in the middle lane.
What a player, Chomi, abusing the Fog of the War beautifully and turning around for not only one kill, but both of those kills. If the mid lane was a wash beforehand, Chomi's completely won it with just that play.
Yeah, unfortunately, it only would have taken Illidan just one more hit with that double damage rune in order to secure that kill, but the Crypt Storm just coming out a little bit faster, and well, Chomi did use the first level of Exorcism for a less than ideal purpose. I mean, you probably would have gotten the kill anyway, I think, if you're the Death Prophet, just because Elder Titan was stuck between so many creeps and a tower and was just in a terrible position in general. Yet, I think Death Prophet's going to be okay with that, since she probably didn't have any intentions of pushing the tower anyway. So, level 9 Death Prophet is still going to be incoming, and it's still going to be applying lots and lots of pressure towards this mid lane tower of vp.polar. And, well, I mean, they already tried once to kill off this Death Prophet. Do they really want to try again now that they're even further behind?
I don't think so, especially not without the Vengeful Spirit rotating, and Stomp is nice and all. It's not nice enough. Left alone up top, DK Phobos having quite a difficult time up against the Tidehunter, and it's just Tidehunter versus one melee hero. He can do a lot, even though he's at a severe level disadvantage.
Yeah, so Afterlife is going to be able to apply some pressure here and there to DK Phobos, but already a level 6 hero, Ember Spirit, if he does find an opening with the shield up and with the Searing Chains, hell, even with double or triple Fire Remnant jump, he will be able to bring down the Tidehunter solo. So Tidehunter has to be very careful about that. Basically, if Anchor Smash misses, then the Ember Spirit has an opening to go in, and then it's very possible for them to get those solo kills. In the meantime, bottom lane, Mag has been left alone as the Elton is now roaming around the map and is doing pretty much what I expected him to do. Mag is playing with the pulls a little bit, but I don't really know if he's too successful in doing this. He's going to get glimpsed back, however, he will jaunt right after that glimpse, so he's going to get roughed up pretty badly, but he will survive in the end. But survival and actually accomplishing something in this game are two different things entirely, and I don't really know if Mag is accomplishing anything.
Even though he's not accomplishing much down in the bottom lane immediately, he's going to hit level 6 before the Tidehunter, and then you have an opening for Puck to find the kills. Ideally on the Death Prophet, but maybe just killing off the Tidehunter or roaming some supports down in bottom to put some pressure onto that safe lane. Either way, I think Puck is going to have an opening soon.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of time before we see when and where that does shape up. He's going to return to the bottom lane, kind of to be expected with the lane pushing in and everything like that. Blink Dagger is going to be a very distant dream for the Puck, and Blink Dagger status on the album sheet heroes, while Tidehunter is nowhere close to anything resembling a Blink Dagger in chess, looks like he is going to go for a Hand of Midas. So maybe Blink Dagger could come at 12-ish minutes for the Wraith King, depending on how well he farms after that Midas, but I really don't see many heroes looking to start anything anytime soon with said item. If anyone, it's going to be the Ember Spirit, I feel, to start anything, as he is very close to drums, and well, when you have that Fire Remnant, as soon as you hit level 6 as Ember, you can make a couple of things happen.
Definitely. Maxed out in the Flame Guard. He's going to use it for now, just for farming purposes. DK Phobos is going to clear up a little bit of the stack prepared for him by his supports. And that is going to be completed drums very soon for him. It's not incredibly fast farmed by the Ember Spirit, but it's definitely serviceable.
I actually really like this decision for vp.polar to put the Ember Spirit in the jungle just for a couple of camps. This is going to leave FNG up on the top lane. He was not doing too well in the early game, and all of a sudden now he's a level 5 hero, which is actually pretty decent considering the circumstances. It's not fantastic by any means, but it could be doing, of course, a lot worse. And, all you need is 1 or 2 points in that natural order before everyone on your team is suddenly doing a hell of a lot of damage. So this decision to get this Elder Titan just a little bit more experience can pay off vp.polar a big way down the line, as it's still DK Phobos to get farm. It's not really like they're sacrificing that much to do it.
Yeah, they're just getting more out of the map in the end. And he's about the same level as the Tidehunter. Elder Titan probably would have about this much, maybe even a little bit less in the offlane, given the situation of that bottom lane. And now Mag does have his level 6, almost level 7. The Puck is very far away from even thinking about purchasing up a Blink Dagger, but even so, Illusory Orb into the Dream Quill and Silence still is a pretty decent combination, especially if the Ember Spirit's the one to set up for it.
Yeah, even though the Puck has been kind of bullied 100% of the time by these two supports in the Disruptor and the Zeus, at the end of the day, it's still a Disruptor and a Zeus. They're very soft heroes, and though Puck level 7 doesn't have the most burst potential in the world, being able to silence a Zeus before he lightning bolts, or silencing out from a Static Storm or something like that from Mag, or from the Disruptor rather, it is very possible for Mag to get solo kills in this situation. However, he has to be very careful in his approach, just because Puck is also a very delicate hero. So Mag, every time he goes into the enemy jungle, is certainly playing with fire, and so far he's not burned, but I don't really know if he can expect it to remain that way for much longer. It's just a matter of time before Sunlight hits level 6, and then things are pretty much all over for the Puck.
More or less, and also, whoa, Mag going to bump into both Sunlight and No Fear. They probably thought that was Illusion Dream Quill, and now glimpse back into 4 enemy heroes. Mag jaunts the orb afterwards, and with the haste rune survives by the skin of his teeth, like 20 HP.
And No Fear, unfortunately, is not quite yet at that level 6 mark, so no Thunder God's Wrath going to be striking down Mag, at least not yet. That's the second time that's happened so far, and the ability to jaunt to the orb after the glimpse, I mean, you can't really fault the Disruptor for that. Timing that perfectly is, hell, damn near impossible, so it is going to be the Puck surviving the second onslaught on that bottom lane, and, well, just, I guess, playing that elusive Puck role as Puck should.
Yeah. Currently, 3 kills in favor of AlbumS. Very limited action. Not to be unexpected, but there have been very many kill attempts onto that puck, and he's currently 0-0-0, exactly where he wants to be, and now he has some potential look for kills, although he was forced to use the Dream Coil in that last escape.
Yeah, it's not really a terribly huge deal since Dream Coil is such a low cooldown ultimate. He will have that one up pretty much by the time he needs it, but you probably can't kill off the Wraith King at all if you're VP Polar unless you want to rotate 2 additional heroes down to this bottom lane, making a total of 4 down towards bot. Chess is going to have an absolute free time farming, and there's nothing you could really do about that. Conversely, it is kind of a similar situation for DK Phobos up towards top, but he's a lot easier to kill than a Wraith King.
Yeah, and also Ember's Spirit, although he's CSing better than the Wraith King, didn't get the Midas, and also there was First Blood Gold involved in the Wraith King's purchase of his Midas, so he's topping him in the net worth chart, and that Midas is going to mean that that maintains the case.
Ember Spirit's going to try to catch up once he picks up the Battle Fury, which he is going to try to build now. However, with only one part of that item, it's going to be a very long time until he picks that up, and it is going to be what looks like a late game Ember Spirit, which is pretty scary. But I think the scarier thing is that Chomi is now level 9. Maybe he's going to wait till level 11 before he starts playing very aggressively into the VP Polar towers, but this Death Prophet pushing potential is certainly very high right now. If they want to make a play onto any one of these towers, I'm pretty sure VP Polar would more or less let them have it.
Yeah, I don't think they really want to fight up into Tidehunter Ravage as well as that exorcism. We still have yet to see Afterlife really use that cooldown, and well, now he's at level 7, and they will have the tools at their disposal to look for those towers. Their support, Disruptor, is still only level 4, at almost 13 minutes in the game. He desperately needs some alone time inside a lane to pick up some creeps, and it looks like they're going to give that to him in bottom.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same exact thing, except mirrored, that VP Polar already did with the Elder Titan level 7 hero versus the level 4 hero. Just giving a little bit of time for your supports in the lane, it goes quite a large way, especially at the bare minimum, getting a level 6. And on someone like Disruptor, level 6 is exactly where you want to be. Obviously, getting maxed out Glimpse is also going to be very useful, but I mean, maybe you don't really want to spend that much time with this only a support in the lane. So, at the very least, Sunlight wants his ultimate, and once they have that, between Ravage, Thunder God's Wrath, and Exorcism, and a Static Storm, it's going to be very hard for AlbumS to lose a fight.
Definitely, and we'll just have to see when they're going to put that together. For now, it seems that neither team is in any rush. Blink Dagger, purchased up by the Wraith King over at the main shop, is going to have that delivered to himself on the courier. So maybe this is the trigger point for AlbumS. They now have one initiating tool, and honestly that's enough if they can get it onto one of the supports or the Phantom Assassin.
Elder Titan does have quite a bit of strength, but it looks like he's going to be the one probably in the most trouble. So far, this Blink Dagger from Chess has been completely unspotted, so it will now be spotted maybe if VP Polar were looking at their maps. They would know that the Wraith King has that item, so maybe Wraith King just blew that, but who knows. It's still possible to get kills even though the enemy team may be expecting your Blink Dagger just because of how long the initiation range truly is. They're going to instead try to set up for top lane. They're going to rotate 4 heroes up here. They need to open up with a silence. If they do anything else, I'm pretty sure DK Phobos is just going to walk away. However, there's the blink board for the Rainfire Blast. Ravage as well. Okay. Well, I guess if you want to use Ravage, that's a good way to do it as well. Level 2 ultimate from Death Prophet, and this tower is going to drop.
Yeah, they have to commit a lot of ultimates for it, but that's what they're there for. And now getting an objective on top of it, Disruptor is going to get his level 6 in bottom. All around the map, AlbumS are finding themselves with wins, some more significant than others, but Virtus Pro just aren't finding anything similar across the map. They're trying to put some pressure in the mid-tier 1. That's not going to come fast enough, however. If AlbumS really want to, they can contest that. Unfortunately for them, the Elder Titan Spirit spam is keeping their group wave pretty low, so actually the Exorcism isn't going to take that tier 1. They need to get back mid before they lose one of their own.
Well, it's a blink forward from Chess over in the mid lane. Lil is going to get the brunt of a double damage rune, and then Chomi's going to steal the kill. Good work, Death Prophet. You really earned that one, but it's still going to be yet another kill going the way of AlbumS. And I would say the Blink Dagger Wraith King, whether or not it was spotted by this bottom observer ward of the Dire, it seems like it wasn't, because otherwise he wouldn't be getting this much, but he's doing a hell of a lot with this Blink Dagger. Like, as soon as he picks up this item, AlbumS get 2 kills, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. Even though they get the kill on the Ember Spirit, DK Phobos is still well on his way towards a pretty well-timed Battle Fury. He's going to have the Claymore as well as complete Perseverance, should he choose to pick that one up for himself. And the Phantom Assassin is also continuously farming 0, 1, and 0. Does have a Helm of Dominator power treads, so they're not slouches either. But whenever those ultimates are online, even though vp.polar have like a Dream Coil in their pocket, it just doesn't compare to the amount of damage as well as control that AlbumS are bringing to the table. Let's see if they're going to be able to use their cooldowns as effectively as Blink on the Puck is an opening to find some kills of their own, but currently, vp.polar is 0 to 5.
Yeah, it's really hard to compare Dream Coil to something like a Ravage, which I think is one of, if not the most powerful AoE ultimate skills in the game. Up top lane, it's going to be Afterlife to get orbed in by Mag. He will also dodge the Anchor Smash, not doing enough damage though to kill off the Tidehunter, because it looks like he didn't dodge the Anchor Smash after all. The Puck just fell short, and now Afterlife is going to live.
Yeah, Zeus ultimate catching out FNG, but he TP's back to base. Wow, that Anchor Smash value, the 30 damage block was enough to make Puck do almost or effectively nothing. Also running with 10 armor at this point in the game. Tidehunter is pretty darn tanky. Saving it for his Blink Dagger, he's going to have it very quickly. Phantom Assassin going into the Roshi Pit. She does have the Vengeful Spirit to help out with some minus armor, but no Medallion on Delil. They still can do this, although it's not going to be as fast as it could have been. Well, let's see if it's going to be fast enough. I don't think AlbumS know what's going on.
This is actually perfectly timed for vp.polar. It doesn't seem like AlbumS want to make a play towards any of the towers, at least not clearly just yet. And Zeus literally just used his ultimate for, I don't really know what reason, but No Fear just used it. So he's not going to randomly pop it right now and blow your entire Roshan attempt. So it looks like this is going to be a free Roshan going the way of Virtus.pro-Polar. And it's not going to be the biggest objective in the world, but hey, it's something. And maybe it'll help them get a kill. So Phantom Assassin's going to be able to jump in and, just do whatever she wants, but still, even though she may have an Aegis, she's jumping into a Ravage, into an Exorcism, into a Static Storm, and there's just so many AoE ultimates from AlbumS that they can layer them properly to deal with Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, it feels like BKB is an absolute necessity, is Illidan's next item, and he'll have it at a decent time. 2,000 gold isn't super far away from that. They're going to look to farm up some Ancients and just continue this pace of the game. Roshan, at least for Virtus.pro-Polar now, isn't necessarily a tool that they can use to go aggressively. Battle Fury and Ember Spirit, however, might be enough for them to win some fights, so maybe I'll be eating my words in a couple of minutes if they are able to put everything together.
At the bare minimum, it's going to accelerate DK Phobos' farm rate, and it's already pretty damn good, like 153 CS, 18 minutes into the game. It's impressive farm for any hero, and Ember Spirit with the Battle Fury is going to be able to farm that much faster. Unless he gets pressured by Afterlife and No Fear, he's now forced out of the lane, and we also do see a smoke heading up towards the north. Looks like it's going to be AlbumS. They really want to take this tower, and I think they're going to get it. This time, no one here from vp.polar, and they're actually working with the creep wave this time, so maybe they don't even need to expend Exorcism if they want to take this tower. Maybe they're just going to wait and try to bait someone into here, into a bad fight, but it doesn't seem like vp.polar have any interest in this top lane anymore.
Yep. The Disruptor and all of the rotations up top have been spotted out by wards, so it's just going to be a clean tier 1 going the way of AlbumS. In the meantime, Puck's putting a little bit of pressure on the tier 1 tower down in bottom, but still nothing that's actually taken a tower, although VP dropped 2 tier 1s low.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom.
This is a push for AlbumS without the Wraith King, though he is potentially heading up there right now. VP, they're just going to sack the entirety of their top lane, and that's quite a deep investment for them. They're trying to get a tower over towards mid, but I think Chess is capable of pushing this back, at the very least, looking for a deny. He's going to get poked down pretty low by random stifling dagger crits. Now jumping forward, trying to go for Lil, as Illidan is going to take the tower, but Lil's going to take a gush and then get glimpsed back right into the Disruptor. That's going to get the kill on the Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit for a tower. The top lane tier 2 does survive from vp.polar, but still, they're just bleeding heroes at this rate.
Yeah, Phantom Assassin has her BKB, and this is Virtus.pro-Polar at a time where they get a couple of really key items, but they just haven't been able to put anything together. 7-0, AlbumS, they have a no lead as far as net worth and experience is concerned. It's slightly in the favor of Virtus.pro-Polar, in fact. So that, kill advantage is actually quite deceiving.
Yeah, so AlbumS, they just need to take a couple more of these towers. Like, they've used the Exorcism a couple of times, and every single time it just falls short of killing a tower for whatever reason. VP are forcing Album Sheet back, so Exorcism, though it is doing decently, it's not quite doing enough. Like at this point, 20 minutes into the game, you would not expect mid tier 1 to be alive. You would not expect bottom tier 1 to be alive. You would just expect them to be randomly going down with or without the usage of Exorcism. With Exorcism, man, it should be, VP Polar almost losing all their 2-2 towers at this rate, but that's certainly not happening just yet.
Yeah. Virtus.polar, they're holding on. They're going to start getting some major items up. For very much all of our heroes, DK Phobos potentially in a little bit of trouble. Scratch that, has a remnant.
On top. They're going to initiate right into a Static Storm. Chess is going to stun up Lil. It's going to be the death of the Vengeful as the Ravage does come out right before Afterlife gets silenced. He will go down, however. Chomi has the Yule Scepter, and Chess is going to respawn, but Illidan with the BKB is going to make his way out, then make his way right back in with the help of DK Phobos. It's going to be a 3-for-2 up on the top lane at the very least. Chess still alive, looking for an angle in, and it's going to be him finding a fight if he really wanted one. He's going to get slowed down and then beaten down. It's going to be 4-for-2 now in favor of VP Polar. Man, that's just came out of nowhere. That was even through Ravage, Static Storm, no Exorcism, true, and that should have been a fight that Album Sheet could have taken much better, given their ultimate status.
Yeah, they forced DK Phobos out of the lane to start things off, but lucky enough for DK Phobos, his Remnant was over in this area, so he's able to rejoin that fight and did quite a large chunk of damage. Next item for Ember Spirit is going to be a Black King Bar, and even though it's not going to immediately increase his damage, BKBs against Album Sheet are just so important for their cores, and they're going to be very long duration ones at that. After quite a long period of passivity coming out from both sides, Virtus Pro are going to come out with a huge win.
Finally get themselves in a board from 0 to 4 just like that. And that was even initiating, I would say, rather poorly. At the very least, they caught Album Sheet by surprise. You don't really expect to be wrapped around by this angle through the secret shop, so I guess that went very well for VP Polar. It was, even through all of that, I think it was the maxed out natural order that made the difference there. FNG's aura made it so that Illidan was hitting a hell of a lot harder. The Puck's magic skills were chunking people down left and right, so the Elder Titan got a little bit of free time, and the game has kind of extended from where I previously thought Album Sheet would have been aggressive. This Elder Titan is now pretty much exactly where he wants to be as far as levels and as far as gold is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Rain is going to be pretty much happy for the rest of the game. TP jump coming up from Chess. Will it be cancelled by anything? No, it won't. Stomp too late, and he'll be able to make it back to base, but only just. Chess didn't have Reincarnation. If he died there, he'd be down for good.
I thought Lil would have been in range for another swap, so maybe he just wasn't for whatever reason, but yeah, it's going to be Wraith King surviving, and you, at this point, if you're Album Sheet, you just lost a fight by quite a large margin. You really can't afford to give away your Wraith King again, because he has the Hanamitis working for quite a long time. He's going to be worth a hell of a lot if you end up losing him, as far as, the other team getting a whole bunch of levels and a whole bunch of gold as well. So Wraith King is going to be, his survival is going to be a top priority, but VP, they're pushing down the middle lane. This is incredibly bold by them. They know that they're up against a Ravage, a Thunder God's Wrath, and a Static Storm, yet still here they are, looking for a little bit of chip damage here and there. They're going to drop Sunlight rather low, just with Sleight of Fist spam, but they have to be so careful about this. They're going to find No Fear. He's going to get silenced before he could use his ultimate, and he's going to be brought down. And now a jump forward from the Ember Spirit, looking for a little more. He's going to find it. Disruptor chop down as well. 2 supports down. VP Polar get him for free.
Now, with those 2 supports down, they can look for even more in the tower. BKB coming out from Illidan Stormrage. He'll bring down Chess. He has his ultimate. Ravage is going to be cancelled by Afterlife. He does have that available if he wants to get back in. Your Wraithfire Blast lands onto Mag, but the crit onto Chess, almost going to drop him down. Ravage lands onto 4. It's going to be pretty huge, but Afterlife's going to lose his life for it. Zeus ultimate's going to be enough to kill off the Puck. He was silenced up as well, but the rest of the heroes from Virtus Pro Polar are going to be able to make a clean retreat. That was buyback forced out by Zeus.
Man, the first time Tidehunter held that Ravage, it was because he had no follow-up. The second time he used the Ravage, and he still didn't have any follow-up. Like, he landed onto everyone who could have been hit by that Ember Spirit still in the BKB, but even with that, the Death Prophet needs to be right there. They need a Static Storm right on top of that. They need a Wraith King there. They need something in order to follow up with that Ravage, because that was pretty much the best Ravage you could possibly ask for at this stage in the game, yet still it's VP Polar clawing their way back from this kill deficit, now firmly in lead in both experience and gold. Suddenly this game has swung, and VP, I mentioned it in the draft, they want to be playing this very passively, and they have for about 25 minutes now.
Yeah, and now they have major items coming online. Illidan is going to be working towards a pretty late Battle Fury for himself. This isn't as much for the farming potential, although that's going to help the sustain while he's farming, and just the raw damage coming out from it is going to be really useful. I would have preferred to see Illidan get a Basher, but maybe they're going to be able to find like a Echo Stomp where he gets like a crit with Battle Fury Cleave. The dream is always real for that. Zeus going to bump into an Invis FNG, and he's gone. Will they be able to cancel the TP in time? Glimpse back onto the Phantom Assassin. Yule Scepter is going to cancel Zeus's TP, and he dies on impact.
And Elder Titan has a Stomp armed up. He's going to guarantee that landing onto Sunlight. It is a level 2 skill. Here comes the Earth Splitting. It's going to crack the Disruptor back. Actually, no, it won't, but it still will kill off the Disruptor in the end. It's once again VP Polar finding 2 more kills on the 2 very squishy supports of AlbumS. And now I don't think they're going to be able to transition that into a tower, but Lil on top lane is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Has purchased a Force Staff before she goes down, so Conventional Spirit's going to be okay with that scenario, but I mean, it's still a 2-for-1, and still I would say Lil is doing a lot more for the VP Polar team than either of these 2 supports have been doing for AlbumS.
Yeah, and that kill for Wraith King, it's going to be nice, but I don't know, I don't think it's nice enough. He does have his level 16, but he already had that before getting the kill on Venge, and the extra gold is pretty much just what you saw at face value, since Vengeful Spirit can't get much more. Illusions from Phantom Assassin used to tank this Roshan means that Illidan's pretty much going to be able to solo this. Would be nice if he had the Vengeful Spirit here for the extra damage as well as the Wave of Terror, but either way, it's going to be taken even with the threat of Ravage as well as Static Storm inside the pit. AlbumS aren't close.
Yeah, they once again do not know what is going on, and Illidan is going to pretty much guarantee himself a double life. Now with a little bit of help from the Vengeful Spirit on the outskirts, Illidan's illusions are all but down. Blur can only do so much versus Roshan, and it's still going to be him working away. He's keeping himself at full HP, but here comes the AlbumS team. They're smoked up. They might run into DK Phobos first. DK Phobos should have, yeah, he does have a remnant down in the low ground, but that might not get him far enough away. Chess going to get his smoke blown. DK Phobos with the shield now up. He's going to turn around and fight with the BKB. He will snag No Fear first. Now jump down. No, he's going to jump right back into Chomi's with the Exorcism already up. Swap back on DK Phobos for some reason. They're going to set focus on Mag off into the sidelines, but it's not quite going to do enough. Echo Stomp going to miss as well. Still, it's going to be lots of damage being applied to AlbumS. They're going to lose 2 heroes. Tidehunter down. No Ravage in this fight. Wraith King also losing his ultimate, and now the Death Prophet to fall as well. Chess is going to respawn, but what can he actually do except for just run? He's going to try to TP out of this. Looks like there's nothing that can interrupt. Chains a little bit too late from DK Phobos, yet that is still a 4-for-1, 4-for-0 actually, in favor of VP Polar. They haven't taken Roshan. Oh, they have taken Roshan as well. Wow, they got everything there. Like, that couldn't have gone better for them.
It really couldn't have. DK Phobos on the sidelines during that entire fight consistently got off his Sleight of Fist on multiple heroes and got a lot of value out of the cleave. Usually, you just remnant down to the low ground and decide to, I don't know, back out, wait for the rest of your team, but DK Phobos just pops the BKB, man fights, and comes out on top. The Wraith King escapes at the end with the BKB TP, but it doesn't really matter. They will be working up against his ultimate soon, but Chess is going to be jumped on. If they kill him in the next 10 seconds, he's down for good. Zeus ultimate's going to turn, but the Puck's able to phase shift dodge that one. Oh, it looks like Illidan's going to lose his Aegis, or will even do that. He will, as one more Thunderbolt from No Fear is going to do him in, but not before he kills off the Disruptor, and in the end, that's what Aegis is there for. Illidan's Storm Range is not done yet. Zeus will survive, but only because he's under his tier 3 towers. This is going to be a clean tier 2 as well, going the way of Virtus Pro Polar. It started out slow, but once they got these items, they've used them very effectively. It's just a downward slope in their favor. 15,000 gold, and even more in the experience department.
The amount of manning up in this game from VP Polar is huge. First of all, DK Phobos turning around versus 5 with the BKB. Takes some serious balls of steel, and now it's going to be Illidan to, fight to the death, surf on the helm of the Dominator for just a little bit, and come out ahead as well. Though he did use the Aegis, that was immediately after picking it up. Again, that's what it's there for. If you're not going to make those type of plays, then don't bother going for a Roshan. It's going to be Phantom Assassin now with a completed Battle Fury and another 2,000 gold to boot. I mean, it hasn't really accelerated her farm since she hasn't really had it for long enough, but still, it's her farming very, very well, and DK Phobos farming pretty much just as well, in fact, a little bit better. He's very close to his Daedalus. In fact, he only needs the recipe in order to complete that. Once that happens, I mean, surely the supports from AlbumS at the very least aren't going to be safe, and if I'm Tidehunter, if I'm Death Prophet, I will also be concerned about my well-being.
Yeah, especially if you're clumped up with a couple more enemy heroes. He gets a crit during the Sleight of Fist. That could be insane. Zeus' ultimate used almost purely for scouting purposes, but down in bottom, they're going to go hard into chest, turn around. Illidan's Storm Rage is getting a couple of lucky dodges, but he's not surviving fast enough. He needs to get out of here, going to throw a Stifling Dagger and book it. Illidan's going to survive, blink by chest, BKB turn, crit! That's ultimate down, and Illidan hasn't had enough. With the remainder of the BKBs, man fighting, the misses are too much. He misses on a crit, and now Illidan's Storm Rage trying to kill off chest, swapped out by Lil. Illidan's Storm Rage going to die to the burn coming up from Wraithfire Blast. Now chest in a heap of trouble. BKB's going to wear off. The Earth Splitter's not going to snap him back, disjointing the stun, and I picked the wrong fight to watch as DK Phobos is on a complete tear behind enemy lines, killing off 4. My goodness, space created.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened in that other fight. I was watching the duel between Illidan and between Chess, and you said he was very lucky with the blurs. He was not lucky at all with the crits. Like, he got 1 to kill off the first Life of Wraith King, and then he didn't get any. So Illidan, if he got a single crit there, he would have survived just because he would have gotten a huge amount of heal from the Helmet Dominator, yet it was Ember Spirit to clean up the rest of the game. Like, just him and Puck killing off everyone in the back line. I have no idea what happened, but I'm sure it wasn't pretty.
Definitely not. Well, thanks for watching. This is only game number 1. It is a best of 3, and Album Sheet have a chance to come back into this. It is a best of 3. Yeah, so we'll have to see if they are going to be able to do it, and I think that's going to rely very heavily on the draft. I've been Grandis V, he's been Mike Loris, and we'll be back soon with some more Dota 2 from the Battle of Central Europe Season 3.